Alright, this video is to show how to create a soccer ball 3ds Max. To maximize the perspective view here, we're going to go to extended primitives and we're going to make a Hedra. Just click and drag. And oops, didn't mean to escape out of that. We're going to change from Tetra to a Dodec Icos. I'm going to make P. I'm going to make the radius 30. And we're going to make P 0.38 or 0.39. All right, so you can already see kind of a soccer ball shape start to take form here. Turn edge faces on, F4. And then we're going to right click and convert to editable poly. It's important that you use editable poly and not add an edit poly modifier, because we're going to put different materials on the different surfaces. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to add the material pretty early. We'll do the edges first. So we'll go to edge and just do a click and drag and select all of the edges. And we're going to extrude these edges inward, -1. And those will have a width of 0.3. Okay, now very, very important here. Right now you have all of those edges selected on the inside. All right, the ones that you just extruded. Okay, don't click off of those. Don't click off of the edges. If you click off the edges, you can't. Well, you can get it back by undoing, I guess, but you want to try to avoid that. So I'm gonna hold Control and click Polygon. And when I do that, this is a general thing when you switch between the selections. When you hold Control and click a different selection, it selects all of the new selection items that are attached to the old selection items. So that just select all of the polygons on the inside those seams. All right, so I'm going to hit M for material. Material editor came up on the other screen. And I'm just going to add a physical material. I'm in Arnold right now. That's more or less fine. Actually, you might want to switch to Art Renderer because you do want to add like grass and stuff after you make the soccer ball. I'm not going to do that here, but you might want to do that. Actually, I'll just switch since so that you can be seeing the same thing that I'm seeing. So I'm going to switch that to Art Renderer, close that, pull the material editor back up. So I'll delete the old one, but physical material is still an option here. So I'm still just going to use physical material because I'm just putting in colors for the soccer ball. All right, so I'm going to make this just a white material for the seams. The base color right here is the one that I changed, and I'm going to add that material. Now, might be something you know already by now, but when you first make an object and it has that color swatch there, it was green before, that only applies until you start adding materials. Once you add a material, that color swatch is no longer relevant. So it looks like I made this white and then it turned it gray, but really it did make the seams white. Here, I'll even do a render real quick. It did make the seams white, but it just made the rest of the ball gray because the rest of the ball doesn't have a color attached yet. All right, so now still keep what you have selected. Again, important if you don't want to give yourself more work. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do Control-I, and that is going to invert my selection. So it's going to select all the polygons that weren't already selected and deselect the polygons that were already selected. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the color. I'm going to add it to all of these, but I'm going to add the color that I want to be on the bigger shapes, which are all hexagons. So all the hexagons, which are bigger than the pentagons, I'm deciding what color I want those to be now. And you can always go back and change this, but it's important to get it assigned now. So I'm going to bring in another physical material, And let's say I want those to be, um, let's say I want those to be like a light, like a very light blue. Or let's go like a light green. And move this hue down a little bit so that it's very, very light green. And hit OK. I'm going to assign that. Again, you can make that whatever color you want, and you can go back and change it later. And I'm going to close this. So now all of these polygons are that light green color. You just can't see it because it's highlighted. Now I'm going to select just the pentagons. So I'm going to hold Control and select all of the pentagons. I did the bigger ones first because there's more of them. Hold Control. Need to go to the bottom, I think. All right, I think I got all of them. Nope, there's one. There we go. All right, so now I'm gonna go back to Material Editor, and I'm gonna add another physical material, and I'm gonna make those. Let's go purple for DG. All right, hit OK and assign, and I'm gonna close my material box for now. And I can I'll go ahead and click off of there for now so you can kind of see how that looks. All right, so I have my 3 colors, and I want to do that now because it would be harder to do later because we're going to do some stuff that creates more edges, and the more edges you have, the more polygons you have to select. Okay, so we're going to select all of the polygons, and we're going to tessellate. What tessellate does, you're going to do it twice actually. And what that does is it basically breaks up your shape, your polygon with more edges. All right, something that we'll use a few times. We used it with the soccer. We used it with the buck car already, I think. All right, and then I'm gonna turn editable poly off, right? And then I'm gonna go. It's very important to turn that off before you do this. And I'm gonna go to modifier list, add a spherify, and then I'm going to add a mesh smooth modifier. With 2 iterations. Now you might want your ball to look a little more. The soccer balls can be a little less rounded sometimes. So adding these extra edges with the tessellate allows this ball to look much smoother and much more round. If you tried to add the spherify and mesh smooth without having all these edges in here, you would just get kind of a blob. All right. So I'm going to go. Actually, I'm pretty much done here. So that was the other reason why we did the colors first, because if we were here, then we would have to select all these polygons. I do want to show you something though, using that same concept that we talked about earlier. If you select this middle vertex and then you hold Control and select polygon, it selects all of those polygons. And then you could go to grow and it'll add the outside ones. But then I would have to do that on all of the ones of each shape. So again, it just makes it harder. All right, so this is so my ball's done here. Wait, what just happened? My mesh smooth just went away. Let me undo. Okay. So, I don't know why my green looks so green now. Maybe it's because of those edges. So let me render this just to see if it looks mostly how it's supposed to look. All right, yeah, that looks pretty much right. So go ahead and add a background to your. I guess I have to click on Spherify. I guess that's what it was. Go ahead and add a background to your soccer ball. And again, you can make these colors whatever you want. If you need to go back and change them, you can always just go back here, change the color, and it should update automatically.